Hello, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today we've got what is apparently a game between light and fantasy on New Sniper Ridge. I got it from teamliquid.net, their forum, and I know it says SAD versus ASM, and there's a lot of random letters after that, and I figured people have been asking for mirror matchups. So here's a TVT for you here on Sniper Ridge. If it's not light versus fantasy, then I don't know. The APM is pretty high throughout. I watched it on a pretty high speed just to make sure that it's a high-level game. So, alright, the top right-hand corner of Sniper Ridge as a Kakuru flies by is going to be the yellow Terran player. We're going to call him Light. So I honestly don't know who is who here. In the bottom right is going to be the purple Terran player, Fantasy. So a TVT mirror matchup for you today on your Saturday edition of the Brood War Remastered cast. I don't know how old this replay is. I assume it's before the remastered client, around 2011 or so. So definitely a few years old, but two extremely great players, if they are in fact who they say they are. And if you're at 300 and 240 APM, you gotta be someone. So I'm gonna choose to believe the person who uploaded this replay pack is not lying about the identities of these players. You might have different thoughts. You might say this isn't light, or this isn't fantasy, or it is light and fantasy, and you got the players mixed up, you doofus. Feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm here for constructive criticism. I'm going to try to pay close attention to the minimap, and that way everybody will be extremely pleased with the cast, and we're going to keep these going. Keep them going. If you haven't heard, I'm doing these 2 times a week now, on Tuesdays and Saturdays US time. I believe it's like Wednesday and Sunday, effectively in Australia and like Japan and stuff, but in America time and Europe, that's what we're looking at. So here we are with these two players. Nothing too nuts happening. Nobody's going for a proxy. Nobody went for a super duper early SEV rush, which would be kind of out of character, I think, for these players to do that. Not that they never do it, right? I mean, rushing is part of the game, but it's just a good player knows how to handle an SEV rush, especially considering in this particular matchup you'd have more workers than your opponent by the time they got to you. Plus, it's a huge 4-player map, and so scouting all 4 locations, getting lucky and figuring out where your opponent is hard to do. It's hard to do, and so just don't bother. Don't bother doing crazy dumb stuff. There's your expansion out of Fantasy. Light, on the other hand, is just now finishing up his barracks. I guess the barracks is now finishing up for Fantasy too, so about the same here, but the expansion's done much more quickly. A little SCV. Whoa! SCV harass going on. I always forget that I can't click and drag here because it's just choppy. Like in StarCraft 2 client, it's smooth, but trying to drag like this is dumb. It's not great at all. So this here SCV is trying to defend. The Marine comes out to chase away the SCV of Light, gets a couple shots off, the SCV runs away. SCV here for Fantasy scouting up the top left-hand corner too. Did he already come over here? I don't know why he'd be scouting the top left if he already saw this. So I don't think he did, but it's a 1-base opener. Factory here on the way for Light. Fantasy, on the other hand, again, has the expansion done. He's going to be economically ahead for sure. For sure in the early stages of this game, throwing up a bunker at the front to defend against any early aggression we're going to see out of Light. Fantasy is preparing for that one there. The problem is if it's tanks, you're in a lot of trouble. Tanks outrange bunkers, obviously, with the Marines in there. But it's going to be a Vulture. Vulture is also pretty good in the situation because it can run past. Just run past the bunker, maybe take some shots, but get in there, get in this mineral line and start shooting up SCVs like they are made of delicious fruit by the foot. Something fruit by the foot. I was trying to think of something soft and delicious. And I like fruit by the foot, so that's what came to mind. That is going to be a, where are we here? Factory on the way here for Fantasy, because what else would he be doing at this point? His options for how to tech up are pretty darn low. And the expansion now starting for Flash at his expansion position 2. Nothing too nuts. Tech Lab being built on that factory. Did he in fact make, he did make a Vulture. All right, so we're going to follow Mr. Vulture a bit. If I can ever click on him, he is shifty. He's shifty. Sniper Ridge is an interesting map. It is an official Kespa map, but it looks like one of those Big Game Hunters maps or fastest map ever type things I used to play back in college in 2000 and 2001. When was that? Was that actually, yeah, 01. Pretty much that entire year. Fall 2000, spring 2001. That's what it was. Man, it's a long time ago now. I'm so old. I am so old. Anyways, regardless, Kakuru flying again. Kakaru? I want to say it's Kakaru. Kakaru! Scouting barracks here, which means that obviously Light is going to be going for a mech type strategy, and it's a TVT, so we're going to see mech. It's just really no question No question in this particular game where we're going with this. All right, so bunkers up. We are building, what is this guy building? Is that an academy? Nope, it's a supply depot. All right, supply depot just kind of try to wall off the front here. And here come, the spider mine upgrade is done on these vultures. They're setting them up on the top of this ramp. Such a great position. Such a wonderful position to set those things on. I approve. I approve very, very much of what Light is doing here. Throwing down another spider mine at a potential third base location for Fantasy. And Scouting Barracks heading up later than his co-parts. Co-part? Opponents? Yeah, later than his opponent's barracks. And Barracks just running all over the place here because there's not going to be Wraiths. That's for sure. We did see Wraiths that one time. Where did we see that Wraith? It was in one of the games. Oh, why does it keep... Yeah, man. I don't know why it shows me those notifications when I'm in a replay. I should be able to be on like a do not disturb kind of a thing here or something. Merp. Merp-a-da-merp. Dang it, Chim Chim. Why are you leaving StarCraft? Ugh. Marine accepting the Widow Mine shot. That's a pretty fair trade for Fantasy. If you can do that, a single Marine dying is much better than losing anything else at this point. Losing a Goliath or having a tank get severely injured. Not something that you want to be doing. Oh, crap. Oh, did that one hit? That one did. Ooh, that one did hit. What are we down to? 1 hit point on that Goliath. Okay, so it can absorb 1 shot. Let's yeah. 1 shot from a spider mine before it dies, but tank Goliath getting rid of a vulture as it snipes off one of their friends. So we're just starting to trade a little bit here. The early stages of Brood War is really about just doing cost-efficient trading. Ooh, good job. Good job, Goliath, clearing those out. Man, Flash did so much work. So much work trying to make sure that these spider mines were up, and now they're all pretty much gone. But guess what's done? Siege! Siege tech is done for the Light, setting up on the top of this ramp. One of my favorite sounds. One of my favorite sounds in the Brood War. So Barracks scouting here from Fantasy, trying to see exactly what's going on, and he says, all right, giant tank line. Sounds fair. Can I possibly flank them? I don't know. This map is all about high ground, though. You'll notice high ground here, high ground here, high ground here, high ground here. And in TVT, high ground is especially important here. Trying to flank a little bit is Fantasy, but there are so many tanks from Light. There are 4 tanks on this high ground. He knows that they're there. He's just trying to keep that tank count low while he makes his own factories, vultures. Both players are getting vulture speed right now and actually getting some repair done. We will see some repair in this TVT. Terrans in general, I don't feel like repair as much as they should, but again, I am not the Brood War expert. I'm sure somebody in the comments will explain why repairing is stupid most of the time. Armory in production here for Light. He's going factory after factory after factory back home. And both players sitting on 2 bases. I really don't see any sign of them trying to expand right now at the 8-minute mark. They're just trying to set up these tank lines, clear out spider mines, wherever they may happen to be, and possibly get some flanks out. Yeah, finally, Fantasy's in the spider mine game. Throwing them along that left side. And look, spider mine versus spider mine. You can tell, because a little tiny edge of purple here versus a little tiny edge of yellow is what that is. And he's trying to actually set up a bit of a double flank. Double flank on his opponent. Vultures float, just like SCVs float, so they're not going to trigger their spider mines here. Don't have to worry about running over your opponent's mines when you are a vulture yourself, which is I always thought was kind of interesting. And you have detection. I don't know if anybody has detection. Anybody going to get a science vessel out anytime soon? Maybe. That's a control tower that Fantasy is working on. But the tank count is definitely favoring Light right now. Like, I wish I could have a units tab, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, about 5 for Fantasy. So he's not in a great spot. He is not in a wonderful spot here. APM for these players just creeping below 300 for each of them. And just kind of feeling each other out right now. Setting up on the high ground with the tanks. That's where they want to live. Using vultures to toss down spider mines and make sure no vultures of the enemy can sneak in behind these tank lines. And it's just, I feel like we're in a bit of a Cold War right now. If we look at it here, a Goliath actually getting some shots off on that scouting barracks for Light. And yeah, tank lines spreading across the middle here for Light. Tanks along the left side. And this low ground too for Fantasy. More and more vultures sneaking in. So nobody's really bothered to make any kind of giant attack here. Let's not make any mistake about that. Not happening. Starport in production for light. Fantasies is already done because I saw him getting a control tower previously. There it is. There it is. So he could make some science vessels, assuming he makes a science facility, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. So yeah, this is just this is Cold War stuff, man. They're setting up. This is demilitarization zone between North Korea and South Korea, which actually in the news, we might see some peace between those two countries. Maybe some de-escalation of the military along that line. That'd be amazing. It'd be a great change for that part of the country, and we'll see if it actually happens or if it's just talk. Coming right into this tank line. Wow, of lights, though, is Fantasy. The Vulture's absorbing a lot of the shots here, dragging some spider mines into the tanks. What a play. What a play here from Fantasy, clearing out a lot of them, not without losing some units of his own. Obviously, you're not going to go into siege tanks and clear them out without taking some casualties yourself. Holy Vulture attack. Vulture's coming in here, trying to get inside that minimum attack range onto the tanks, trying to swing around that backside. It's a bit of a 360 surround. These Vultures, can they do it? Yes! They clear out the tanks, and then it's Vulture versus Vulture, and Fantasy wins the battle, but what has he got left? He's got 2 Vultures remaining. That's it. That's all he has. So we're fighting for this middle ground. I don't think anyone's going to try to expand here. Mind you, nobody's going to try anything like that, but keeping it clear and owning it is a big deal on this Sniper Ridge map. Third base now done for Fantasy, third base done for Light. Both players expanding just pretty much straight across the bottom here for Fantasy and straight down the right side for Light. Who's firing? I think maybe these tanks were firing. I think that maybe that's what was happening. And again, Vulture's getting right on top of these tanks. It's a pretty good maneuver, dropping the spider mines here too, because spider mines do 125 damage on impact. I don't care what you are. Taking 125 damage to yourself is a bad thing in the Brood War. These are not huge tanky units, with the exception of like battle cruisers and carriers and stuff. Ultralisks, I suppose, all that tier 3 stuff is definitely it, but we're not going to see any of those, I don't think. No battle cruisers today, although that is actually a Wraith in production from Fantasy. Are you kidding right now? He is making a Wraith, as is, check this out, as is Light. So perhaps they function like Vikings in the StarCraft 2, just providing vision, allowing the tanks to shoot farther than they otherwise could because of the vision buff that is granted them. But boy, I don't know how these players are doing it. They're just being so precise in their movements, so precise in where they set up their tanks. So patient, too. I would just be like, all right, enough of this. We're 12 minutes in. I'm A-moving, and I'd walk into this tank line and get crushed. Absolutely crushed. +1 attack is done on the tanks for Light, and the Purple Terran player Fantasy doesn't have the +1 yet, but he's working on it. But look who's working on +2 already. It is Light. It is Light who's working on vehicle attack level 2 already. Also making another starport. And Valkyrie finishing up. Where's my Valkyrie at? There it is. Oh, you're hiding in the Wraiths, though. Hiding in the Wraiths. Valkyrie's a really fun design. I've just always enjoyed looking at them, and their fire animation is really cool, too. That could just be the nostalgia talking. I've always loved the Brood War animations for the Brood War units that came in after StarCraft came out, right? Medics, really great. Valkyries, too. Devourers are awesome for Zerg. I wish they had a better place in the StarCraft Brood War. I think I've cast one game for Zerg where they used Devourers, and I don't think it was a pro-level game. So maybe there's a place for it, just not necessarily here. Not necessarily at this level. Coming right on in. Tanks absorbing the shots, allowing the tanks of Light to get on top of the tanks of Fantasy from distance here, too. And there we go. Tanks getting cleared out. 1-1-1. Vultures responding. This is pretty much the life for these players, is sending Vultures in against tanks, allowing tanks to shell from distance here. The upgrades, once again, massively benefiting, almost massively benefiting Light. Although it's technically 1-1 right now, so there are no benefits. I misspoke there. Figuring the upgrade is a little bit faster, but man, that takes a while. That takes a while to finish. Kakaru flying over. Is this a good... I don't know. I wish this was live. I wish I could ask if this was a good zoom level, because usually you guys are like, all right, you got to find the perfect zoom level, not too close and not too far out. But where there's tank battles, I mean, to see the entire battle, I have to be zoomed out this much, which is definitely much farther than I usually do. So let me know in the comments what you think when it comes to TVT and tank battles. If zooming out like this is enough. I think what I'm general I'm trying to follow the general rule of thumb, where I just have the action in the screen, right? As long as I have the action for the current battle on the screen, I'm going to be just fine. Going to be just fine. All right, we going for it? Kind of, sort of. That +2 is almost done for Light. He's going to have that bonus effect very, very soon, and I'm not sure that Fantasy knows it or not, but it's 172 to 164 supply. We are getting close to maxed out for both of these players. Fantasy expanding along the left side and double expanding across the top is Light. He's got 2 new bases to the 1 new base of Fantasy that Fantasy is trying to toss up here. Comsat stations, more Wraiths in production. Where the heck are the Wraiths? What are they doing? Look, I think they're just hiding down here. What are you doing? Light, where are your Wraiths at? Same thing? Yeah, just kind of clustered here. Kind of clustered up. Huh. I don't know where you're going. Here's a push, though, from the Light. Coming from top to bottom, sending Vultures and getting his tanks in position to siege. And some Goliaths defending against the Vultures sneaking in. Vultures trying to sneak on past, perhaps, and find some bases to kill. That seems actually pretty darn nice. Can they get up? Yeah, they're going to get up here and absolutely kill this SCV building this base. If nothing else, they couldn't pause the construction of the command center. It did manage to complete very, 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 very soon before the SCV that was building it died. And then some defensive Vultures come in to clear them out. So high ground position here for Fantasy. This is his. The high ground position on the right side is going to be for Light. But look at that. Tank attack. Tank attack. Taking out one of Light's here. What is it? +2 attack done for Light. And still the +1 for Fantasy. 3 tanks at a time being produced by each of these players. Upgrades, upgrades, and more upgrades. +3 vehicle weapons just got started for Light here. And once again, here we go. The Vultures come in, try to distract the tank fire, dropping some spider mines too. And then the tanks of Light are able to take advantage, come in without getting shelled, and where they have superior numbers and better upgrades, they should be able to win that battle quite nicely. All right, so I think we're at the point of the game where it's just going to be constant scanning from now on. Scan, 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 cause you can. You want to know what's going on with your opponent here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases for Fantasy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6th base under construction here for Light up north. Not quite there yet. So he's working on supply depots all across the top here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 factories. Seem to be his main production facilities here. And on the other end of things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Fantasy too. So if you're playing TVT and you get to this stage of the game, 5 factories seem to be the sweet spot, and always be making Wraiths until you're maxed out, as Fantasy is. Fantasy's maxed out. He's working on 2 armories. Why on earth does he want 2 armories for? I guess maybe he's going to start getting air weapons and air armor too for his Wraiths. Seems fine. I really like to see the Wraiths get involved in some kind of a battle here. I mean, as much as I love this tank stuff, if the Wraiths would get into it, it'd be nice, is all I'm saying. No upgrades whatsoever on the flying units right now, and it makes sense. The priority is definitely got to be to the ground right now. Making missile turrets. Oh, I heard that. I heard some Valkyrie hits. Were you hitting that barracks, Valkyrie? Yep. So 1 Valkyrie and a whole ton of Wraiths. Is that the compositional choice here too for Light? I don't know. I don't know that it is. Where are they? I don't think he made a Valkyrie. I really don't. All right, trying to sneak in here with the Wraiths. It is a Wraith versus Goliath battle, you guys. Incredible stuff. Look at them taking down the Goliaths. They just outnumber them, and the Goliaths don't do splash damage. So the Wraiths can stack up here quite nicely, pick off a tank. There you go, getting a tank, and that's the Valkyrie way, though. The Valkyrie hit, trying to split as best he can. Are the Valkyries getting chased down, though? Can they finish off the missile turret before any more of their number die? The answer is going to be no. They do lose 1 Wraith in the process, but now they're starting to clean out these tanks on the left side. Goliath's coming for the response. Oh, there are several Valkyries here. Actually, I like that decision from Fantasy. The splash damage is so very good. So very good against these Wraiths, who have been described as being made of tissue paper more than once. They just die so quickly. And sure, they're fast, that they can attack air and ground, but their lack of survivability really causes problems for them. Bum 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 bum. Terran has the best music in Brood War. fight me in the comments if you want, but they do. I like Protoss a lot, and I like Zerg a lot, but Terran just has a sense of purpose to it that really resonates with me. It's like, we're doing stuff. We are doing stuff. We're here to wreck you. Protoss is just kind of like chill and solemn, and then Zerg's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit guitar-y. A little too weird and guitar-y for me. If that makes any sense. But yeah, which music in the Brood War is your favorite? Let me know in the comments, and we can discuss. To be honest, I really wish the comment structure as some more vultures run into these tanks for fantasy and allowing their tanks to get set up again. We've seen this a million times. Some SCVs absorbing some shots here too. I wish the YouTube comments were better structured, right? I wish there was a better way to have a conversation down there. It's just right now, you kind of make a comment, and then maybe you'll come back to it, maybe you won't come back to it later. It just doesn't really matter. It's not necessarily a conversation most of the time, although those do happen. I have had some really long flame wars in the comments of my channels from time to time where people are coming back time and time again to post their responses, but it's hard to read for other people, and I don't know. I'd kind of like to see a better commenting system available on the YouTubes, I suppose. I mean, it's pretty much, it's better than Twitch's, I guess, because you can't directly respond to stuff with Twitch. I don't know. Both players are killing SCVs because they're effectively maxed out right now, and so what they're trying to do is clear up space. Holy, what are we doing here? 12 raids in production for Light. Wow. Okay, he's suddenly tech switching hard. As is Fantasy. As is Fantasy. So quick confession for you guys. This is part of a best of 5 that was posted as part of that replay pack. And I said, best of 5 TVT sounds pretty fun. You guys do want a series and you do want TVT. And then I watched this game and I said, it's going to be 5 games of this, where we cut the map in half. There's a billion tanks on the ground. There's a ton of scanning. Units lost is like in the tens right now. There just aren't that many units lost for either player, and it comes down to kind of one final confrontation. I don't know. And I said, I can't cast 5 games of that. I can't keep it interesting. Like, more power to Tastosis and those people who can, but even those guys, I think, spend a lot of time reminiscing and talking about other stuff besides the game, especially if it comes down to a 24-minute, 22-minute TVT here on Sniper Ridge. Okay, new Sniper Ridge. This is absolutely insane right now. What? Oh, Cloak is done. Cloak is done for these Wraiths. I knew that. They had Cloak, but they just weren't using it previously here. So it's just basically roving bands of marauding Wraiths flying around, trying to find stuff to kill, find tanks to pick off, pulling back to missile turrets as best they can to protect themselves. I like that these 3 spider mines are still back here for Fantasy. It's like the only color that's not, I guess there are some spider mines for Light down here too, but it's very split in half, yellow and purple right now on that mini-map, with the exception of just those few spider mines, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah, both players working on air weapons right now, air armor, making missile turrets, because missile turrets don't take supply. You can make as many missile turrets as you want. As in you'll want here. Again, killing SCVs, just sacrificing them to the siege tank god. Just to free up supply. That's all he's trying to do. Is he killing his own tanks there as well? I guess so. Killing some tanks to free up supply. He's making 4 of the raids. Does this come down to a giant air battle? Is that what we're waiting for, you guys? Is that why we're being so patient? I mean, look at this split. Right diagonally across the middle of the map. Nobody's taken the middle section because it's tank versus tank heaven right here. And as soon as you try to build something, you will die. And clearing it out's impossible. Kakaru flying over. You humans are weird, says the Kakaru. Just share the land like I share with my Kakaru brethren when I'm not murdering them, because I feel like the Kakaru is a species that kills other of its own kind, right? You're with me on this? Oh. Light actually hasn't researched Cloak yet. I saw Fantasy do it. I just assumed that Light would get it done here too. But no. Pew, pew, pew. Missile turret, enough to chase them away. Okay, it's not the missile turret. It's this humongous Wraith group. 2 + 2 done for Fantasy, +2 + 2 done for Light. Again, Cloak is not complete, mind you, for Light, but it's getting there. It is getting there. Ship weapons, ship plating, vehicle plating. We're basically just mirroring each other right now. Another engineering bay coming in here too for Fantasy. I guess we're just going to follow the Wraiths around. These guys are going to move. We're going to follow them. These guys are not really going to move. They're going the wrong way. They're going the wrong way for being aggressive, as it turns out. Okay, there's the cloak. Get rid of the anti-air first and then clear the tanks out. Look how quickly the tanks die to this huge band of Wraiths. Good heavens. I mean, that's 12 and 12 is like 24. Don't mind us, like 24 Wraiths in the sky right now. Fantasy's making 6 at a time. Here's his Wraiths killing his own stuff. Again, Wraiths poking in and then flying back to their own missile turret line. Such patience on display by these two players, Light and Fantasy. They're both getting giant banks. Tanks clearing out the spider mines. Pow, 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 pow. Light deciding to push in here because these tanks are gone thanks to the Wraith push from his own squadron here. And this base actually in a little bit of trouble right now. How many tanks? He's got tanks, but is it enough? +1. Okay, so 3-1 there and 3-1 there. So they're but the high ground. Don't try, Tanakin. I have the high ground. Wraiths, here is the engagement of the day right now. Trying to get rid of those guys. Wow. Not getting killed in the process. It's going to be Wraith versus Wraith battle. Got some Goliaths on the ground here too with +3 attack, which is no joke. No joke for Goliath. Their anti-air is good. Picking off tank, picking off tank. Nicely done. Good pick off there from the Fantasy. And we are just so patient. Is he withdrawing? Is he allowing this base to go down? Kind of feel like he's allowing this base to go down. And here it is, the big air battle you've been waiting for. I don't even know what's happening right now. It's just rocket missile after rocket missile. Left to right, right to left. Who's winning this thing? I don't know, but it looks like Light kind of is. Yes, Fantasy's retreating from the position, chasing down the other Wraiths, flying into some missile turrets in the process, which is not that great. Trying to kite back and forth, fly back and forth, and without taking too many shots. But he's going to lose this base. He's going to lose this base along the left side to these tanks. The positioning is fantastic. He's forced to lift off the command center. Some SCVs are retreating from the position. And Light, oh, Light's Wraiths picking off another tank here. But do 168 to 140 total supply right now. And this Wraith count has just got to be killer for Light. Fantasy might have a couple. He's making 18 at once, though. But I guess he's making 20, Light. Light is making 20 at once. And Light deciding to push on in. It's not a huge force, but it is a pretty darn scary force with the upgrades that we are experiencing right now. And the Wraiths for Fantasy trying to clear these dudes out, but guess who's going to respond? The Wraiths from Light? Maybe? No. Deciding not to. Instead. This is insane. This is an insane game. That's really high. Even for a falsetto, that's really high. Okay, again, Wraith Battle number 2. Part 2 going on right now. And it looks like Light's winning this thing. Missile turret coming up and some Goliath support on the ground is enough. Yeah, he's going to win this battle. He lost a lot of Wraiths himself. I guess he's making 18 at a time. Fantasy is. Fantasy's making 18 Wraiths at a time. Amigos. 18. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say right now. Wraiths. Setting up. Flying in. Oh, another base. Another base of Fantasies is in a lot of trouble here. More Wraith versus Wraith action. Hot Wraith on Wraith action. Reminds me of, wow, early episodes of Black Mirror. I forgot about that episode from season 1. I think it was episode 2, I want to say. Ghiblis. Black Mirror, man. Not even once. It makes you existentially depressed, even just to think about it afterwards. Okay, so Wraith count, literally insane right now. This is a lot of Wraiths from these guys. And again, you can only control 12 of these at a time. That's how big control groups are here. So if you're not familiar with that in the Brood War, you should be aware. And that is the case. Tanks creeping down this left side. Another base possibly going to go down. Another huge air battle. I wish I could. I guess we can zoom in on it a little bit here. Look at this. That's the good game from Fantasy. He lost yet another air battle and decided to tap the heck on out. He's going to lose another base. He's already lost 2 of them. And in the situation, and all of these buildings too, which is bad. Losing all these starports that's where his raids are coming from. This is his production home. That's why he tapped out 30 minutes and 7 seconds. So all the posturing, all of the setting up battle lines with tanks and missile turrets and Goliaths, it all came down to Wraith battles between these 2 players. And I think Light won every one. I think anytime the Wraiths came up against each other, I think Light either had more Wraiths, possibly better upgrades, or just some better Goliath support, some better missile turret support there too. And he won it. We can check the stats. Let's do that real quick. Let us check the stats. So both players produced around 400. That makes sense. Light killed 315 to Fantasy's 243. So that's your big thing right there. Most of that's going to be Wraith and Tank, I think. Grazing 23 buildings was Light compared to the 3 lost from Fantasy's attempts. And then Minerals Mined, all this is pretty much equal. Look how equal this is. 27,000 each for gas. 55 minerals for Light and 53 for Fantasy, but it doesn't really matter. And look how close that total spent is, 76,000 each. It is a 200 mineral difference for spent money in this game. How crazy is that? Crazy. Crazy close TVT. But that's it for TVT. I don't think I'll be coming back to this for a while, but I don't know. We'll do it again. We'll do it again sometime. I think maybe a ZVZ for our next mirror match, but also, I'm not going to see a mirror match for a while either. I know you guys want them, but the vast majority of people who watch are really into the ZVPs and ZVTs and PVTs. It's just people like watching their own race, I believe is what it is. And so if their race is not involved, they're less likely to click and watch, and it's just the people speak. The people speak. Okay, so that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.